A blizzard tears through the northern forest. The wind chill drops to 40 below zero. Any exposed skin would freeze in minutes. Yet, in the heart of the storm, a bobcat sits motionless, utterly calm. Her name is Sela. She wears a small radio collar, and she is not fighting the cold. She seems to belong to it.
There she is, signals strong, still hunkered down in the same spot. How is she not freezing? We tagged her 8 months ago, a healthy female. But no one knew what she would face this winter.
The collar is the only link between the biologist and the bobcat. It transmits her location and body temperature, a whisper of data from the storm. The snow piles around her. Ice crystals form on her whiskers. She does not shiver. At negative 40 degrees, the cells in a mammal's extremities freeze. Limbs die. Then organs fail. And yet, her ears are erect. Her eyes are clear. The question isn't just how she survives tonight. It's what biological design permits any creature to endure this brutality at all.
She shouldn't be able to survive this, but she is.
In the months that follow, one bobcat will reveal the secrets of a winter coat so effective it makes 40 below zero survivable. This is how, but in the forest, seasons do not rush. Long before the blast, Sela prepared. Early autumn, the air still warm. Her tawny summer coat catches low sun as she moves through golden leaves.
Her body was reading the light. Shortening days triggered a hormonal shift. The new coat was already waiting beneath the old one.
She rubbed against rough bark. Clumps of summer fur fell away, revealing the dense, pale undercoat.
That undercoat is the secret. Hollow guard hairs trap air. Beneath them, a fine wool holds body heat close to the skin.
Without a word, her body built a fortress of air. She ate voraciously. Mice, voles, whatever she could kill. Her weight climbed, and with it, a layer of fat began to wrap her ribs.
By the time the temperature plummeted, her body was a furnace wrapped in insulation.
Then the first snowfall arrived. It did not catch her unprepared. She was ready. But ready is not the same as safe. 3 weeks later, the real winter showed its teeth. The temperature dropped to minus 30. The forest was a frozen vice. From her cabin, Elena saw the tracking data flicker. Sela's movements collapsed.
She's doing it again. Curling into a tight ball, minimizing surface area. Instinct tells her to stop losing heat, but look at her paws. The arteries and veins run parallel, like a heat exchanger. Blood cools before reaching the skin, so she barely loses warmth there.
On the thermal camera, her body was a map of survival. Bright heat held tight to her chest. The paws were cold. She only moved when necessary. Short, deliberate steps, conserving every calorie.
I've never seen a mammal this efficient. Her metabolism is barely taking over.
But the cost was unavoidable. Her fat reserves were thinning. Hunger was no longer a distant threat. In the white silence, Sela waited. The cold was an enemy she could still outlast. But the real test was coming. She had not eaten in 5 days. Soon, the furnace would need fuel. On the 6th dawn, the hunger won. Sela rose from her shallow bed and tested the air. A scent drifted through the trees. A snowshoe hare, white as the drifts, nibbled bark 100 yards away. It had no idea it was already a target.
Every hunt in winter is a gamble. A failed chase burns more energy than the kill can replace. She can't afford even one mistake.
Sela sank lower. Her paws pressed silently into the crust. Every muscle coiled around the single thought of capture. She exploded from the snow. A white cloud, a blur of tawny fur, and the hare didn't even finish its leap. Her jaws found the spine. The struggle was brief. In seconds, the hunger was paid for.
She did it. That hare will fuel her for days. Every bite is pure fat and protein, exactly what her body needs to stay warm.
The blood steamed in the frozen air. Sela ate with brutal efficiency, wasting nothing. Fur, bones, the organs first. When she finished, she paused, licked the snow clean, and then she rested. But one meal does not end a winter. The forest would test her again, and soon, with her belly full, Sela turned to the next law of winter. Find shelter, or the heat you carry will be stolen by the wind.
A bobcat without a den in deep winter loses heat 10 times faster. The right crevice can mean survival.
Sela tested 3 sites: a hollow log, a rotted stump, then a jumble of boulders where the rock had cracked centuries ago. She slipped through a gap narrow enough to block a wolf. Inside, the floor was dry. The rock walls held the faint memory of summer. To the naked eye, just a crack in the earth. To her, it was a fortress.
The sensors inside the den read 20 degrees warmer than the air outside. That's the difference between living and dying on a cold night.
Sela circled once, then settled into a tight curl. Her nose vanished beneath her tail. Her breathing slowed.
She'll use this den for months. It's her anchor, a place where her body can recover from the brutality outside.
But a den is only half the war. She would still have to leave it. Over and over, and every time she stepped into the white world, the cold would try to take back what she had saved. In the dark of the den, Sela entered a state of deep rest. Her body slowed to something near sleep.
Her heart rate dropped to a fraction of normal, and her breathing became shallow. It's a form of shallow torpor.
The thermal camera showed her core temperature holding steady, despite the freezing rock around her.
By dropping her metabolism, she burns almost no fat. It's the ultimate energy-saving mode.
She spent long minutes grooming her fur, meticulously aligning every hair to seal the insulation.
One matted patch can leak precious heat. She knows this without ever being taught.
Outside the den, the sky thickened into a bruised gray. A storm front was swallowing the mountains whole. Inside, Sela's breath was little more than a mist. She was saving everything for what was coming.
A blizzard is building. If it lasts more than 2 days, she'll be trapped here with no food.
The first gusts rattled the pines. Winter was about to close its fist tighter than ever. For 3 days, the blizzard erased the world. White on white, Sela lay motionless in her stone pocket, trapped by the fury outside.
72 hours. No movement. Her GPS hasn't logged a single step. She's burning nothing, but she's also gaining nothing.
The math of survival was unforgiving. Every hour cost her the equivalent of a small mouse. The debt was growing.
If this storm doesn't break soon, her fat reserves will dip below 10%. That's the danger zone for hypothermia.
On the 4th morning, the wind died. An uncanny silence pressed against the den. Sela uncurled, her muscles stiff as frozen rope. She pushed through the drift blocking her door and stepped into the light. The bobcat that emerged was a ghost of the one that had entered. Her ribs shadowed through the coat. The winter fur hung loose on her frame.
She's lost a fifth of her body mass. Her fat is nearly gone. But the hunger will drive her now. She won't stop.
She lifted her nose to the wind, scouring for scent. Her world had shrunk to a single need. If she failed today, the cold would claim what the hunger started. Her furnace was down to embers. Every step in deep snow burned precious fuel. Sela moved like a shadow, scanning the frozen world.
Protocol forbids feeding her. I have to trust her design.
A distant hair twitched. Sela's body flattened, and she began the slowest, most desperate stalk of her life. She lunged, but the hair was faster, exploding away before her paws even met the snow. Sela stumbled, empty-pawed, her sides heaving. The miss had cost her more than the hunger.
One mistake. That might be all it takes to undo weeks of endurance, but she's not broken. Look at her. She's already calculating another way.
She turned from the chase, her breath forming rapid clouds, and began to move again. Not hunting, but waiting. In the cabin, Elena closed her journal. The decision was made. She would not feed her. The wild had to play out. Sela sank into a drift, her body melting into the white. She would wait, as long as it took. She had not moved in 2 hours. The snow had buried her haunches. Only her eyes, unblinking, followed the hair trail ahead. Her paws, with their dense fur pads, rested lightly on the crust. She was not chasing. She was not even hunting, in the way we imagine it.
This is still hunting. It's the opposite of a chase. She's turning herself into a trap, using her insulation to wait out the prey.
Hour 3. Frost had woven a lace of ice across her whiskers. Her breath was a ghost, slower than a sleeping human's.
She's burning almost nothing. The coat holds every degree. This is the secret. Not just thick fur, but the patience to let it work.
Hour 4. The sun arced low, but she did not follow it. She had become a part of the landscape.
If a hare comes, she'll have 3 heartbeats to strike. If it doesn't, she'll lose nothing. That's the cold math of winter.
Hour 5. She had not flicked an ear. The snow continued to fall, but it did not cover her resolve.
She's not surviving by being stronger or faster. She's surviving by being a perfect, empty space in the cold.
Then, a twitch in the distance. A shape separated from the white. The wait was over. The hare never saw it coming. Sela uncoiled in a single, violent arc, snow exploding around her like a white thunderclap. Her jaws found the throat. The hare kicked once, then stilled. After 5 hours of starving patience, the reward was instant.
She did it. The still hunt worked. Look at the thermal. Her core temperature is stable, and she's barely expended any energy.
Sela tore into the carcass with desperate relief, her gaunt frame dwarfing the small hare, yet every mouthful was fuel for the furnace inside her.
That's the pattern. Insulate, conserve, and take the calories when they offer themselves. She's written the manual in her cells.
She ate for an hour, consuming everything, the meat, the bones, the organs, nothing wasted. The wild does not permit luxury. When she stood again, the difference was immediate. The coat, which had hung loose on her ribs, now seemed to fit a little better. The furnace was restoked.
Her vitals are climbing. This kill bought her another week, maybe more. She understands winter better than any textbook.
Sela turned toward the den, her stomach full and her paws steady. The cold still gnawed at the world, but for now, she had won. But in the monitoring data, Elena saw something else. The mercury was still falling. The hardest night was yet to come. By sunset, the weather station glowed with a number that made Elena's blood run cold. -45 degrees Fahrenheit. The coldest night of the year had arrived without warning, a lid of Arctic air pressing down on the forest. Sela slipped into her stone den, just as the last light bled out of the sky. She had hours of darkness ahead.
She's in the den. Her collar proxy shows her skin temperature is starting to drop, but only at the surface. Her body is doing something remarkable. It's shunting blood away from her ears, her paws, anywhere heat can escape. Peripheral vasoconstriction.
Inside the dark, Sela curled into the tightest ball her body could make, pulling every degree of warmth into her core. On the thermal camera, her silhouette was a furnace the size of a loaf of bread, wrapped in the perfect insulation of her coat.
Her heart rate is falling. I am seeing signs of a shallow torpor, not true hibernation, but a deliberate metabolic break.
Outside, the cold was so absolute that bare branches snapped like gunshots. Inside, Sela's breath froze on her whiskers, and she didn't stir. The question now was not whether her coat was thick enough. It was whether her whole design could survive the deepest freeze of winter. The coldest dawn of the year broke pale and still. Sela stirred inside her stone refuge, uncurling from the ball that had saved her life. She pushed through the crust and shook herself violently, a halo of snow exploding off her thick fur, every muscle stretched, one by one.
She's alive. Core temperature held steady all night. Her body never dropped into the danger zone.
She yawned, revealing sharp teeth, and then sat, surveying her white kingdom with the calm of a survivor who had never doubted herself. Her eyes, that deep, intelligent amber, reflected the frozen forest. There was no panic in them, only the slow patience of a body designed for this.
The torpor worked. The vasoconstriction worked. Every strand of that winter coat did its job. She just outlasted the coldest night of the year.
Sela turned from the den and padded into the razor air, her paws sure on the crust. The immediate crisis was over, but the forest held no time for celebration. The thermometer still read -20. The cold would cling to the land for weeks, but Sela had proven her design could hold.
If she can survive this, she can survive anything. The rest is just time.
She had faced -45 and answered with stillness. Now, the long trudge towards spring could begin. But the story of her survival was far from written. In the weeks after the deep freeze, Sela devoted every dawn to a ritual as essential as the hunt. She groomed.
She's realigning every guard hair. It's a daily armor check. Lick, pull, smooth. The coat must trap air without any gaps.
Her rough tongue worked through the undercoat, removing loose fur and ice, leaving a smooth surface.
A single mat can channel cold straight to the skin. She never lets one form.
When she hunted, she still used that otherworldly patience, becoming part of the snow until the world forgot she was there. A vole strayed too close. A quick paw, a bite, and it was done. She ate without ceremony. Fuel, nothing more.
Her weight has stabilized. Her reserves are safe. She's found her winter rhythm.
She drank from a stream where the ice was thin enough to break, lapping the freezing water with her rough pink tongue.
Under the microscope, a winter hair is a hollow tube filled with air. Nature's perfect insulator.
The forest was still frozen, but Sela had become a creature that winter could not break. She was holding the line until spring, but survival demanded more than endurance. Sela had to defend what was hers.
Her territory is her pantry. If a rival moves in, she starves. She patrols every week, even in this cold.
She backed against a pine and sprayed, leaving a chemical signature as precise as a signature. Then she raked the bark with her claws, leaving visible marks that said, "Keep out." The cost of each scent post was real energy, but the cost of losing her ground was death. A rival's yowl cut through the frozen air from the ridge.
A younger female, testing the borders. Sela can't ignore it.
Sela flattened her ears and answered with a low, rumbling threat. Not one step further.
She won't risk a fight in winter. But the vocal threat should hold the line.
Her GPS path traced a perfect boundary around her territory. The line held. She turned toward the den, her reins secure. The iron grip of winter began to loosen. Patches of bare earth appeared, and the snow melted into muddy trails. Sela stepped into the softening world, her paw prints now filling with water instead of frosting over.
The lengthening days triggered a cascade. Not warmth, but light. Sela's body read the sun and began to shed.
She rubbed against a fallen log, and thick clumps of winter wool peeled away, revealing the sleek summer coat beneath.
It's called photoperiodic molt. She loses almost 80% of her fur density in weeks.
The heavy coat that had saved her at -40 now littered the forest floor. She shook off the last of it and stood in the sun, her tawny coat gleaming, her body lean and strong. She basked on a warm rock, absorbing heat she no longer needed to generate.
She's fully recovered her weight. Her reserves are replenished. If she were to reproduce this year, this is the moment.
The forest was green again, and Sela moved through it not as a survivor of winter, but as its master. With the return of prey, Sela's instincts pulsed with the need to hunt. She moved through the green forest, every sense sharp. A grouse fluttered up. Sela exploded from the grass, impossible angles, her powerful legs propelling her into the air. Her jaws closed on feathers. A clean kill. She landed lightly, shaking the bird once.
All of it has come together. The coat, the vascular exchange, the metabolic drops, the patience. She is a masterclass in cold weather survival.
Sela ate quickly, refueling her lean muscles. Her body, once starved, now hummed with strength. She sprawled on a sun-warmed rock, her sleek coat gleaming, and for the first time in months, there was no urgency.
Her weight is at an all-time high. fat reserves fully restored. That's the dividend of surviving the winter.
Her amber eyes closed slowly. The endless vigilance of winter finally relaxed. The sun set behind the ridge, painting her silhouette in gold. She was not just alive, she was primed to continue her line. The final proof of her survival would reveal itself soon enough. One morning, Elena checked the data feed from a remote trail camera. The sensor had been triggered in the night.
What is that? The resolution is grainy. But wait.
The image was indistinct at first, a shape in the dark. Then the processor sharpened the frame.
She has cubs, 2 of them, walking right behind her.
Elena sat back, pressing her hand to her mouth. The screen glowed with the grainy proof of everything Scylla had endured.
They're maybe 6 weeks old. She had them deep in the den that saved her life. The den is a nursery now.
In the photograph, Scylla's radio collar was just visible, the same collar that had tracked her through -45.
She didn't just survive. She won. Those cubs are the reason for every hair, every blood vessel, every patient hour in the snow.
She printed the image and pinned it to the wall, the final data point, the living result of a brutal, beautiful equation. Outside, in a rocky den hidden by spring leaves, Scylla lay with her newborns, and the circle of winter's design was complete. Inside the den, the air was still and warm. Scylla lay on her side, her body curved around 2 tiny spotted forms. The cubs kneaded her belly with tiny paws, each movement a silent claim on the life she had fought to give them.
Look at the thermal scan. You can see 3 heat signatures blending into one. The den is holding them perfectly.
The same stone that had guarded her through -45 now cradled the next generation, nothing wasted. Near the entrance, the boulder of the 2 cubs tumbled over its sibling, a clumsy pounce that ended in a sprawl.
That play is practice. They're learning the stalk and pounce their mother perfected in the snow.
Scylla watched them with a patience born of hundreds of frozen dawns, a patience now repurposed into motherhood.
This is what the science was for. The hollow hairs, the vascular tricks, the torpor, all of it bought her enough life to pass it on.
One cub found a beetle and batted it across the dirt, its tiny growl, a whisper of the predator it would become. The forest hummed with summer, and in the shade of the rocks, a tiny dynasty had taken root. By midsummer, Scylla led her cubs into the open meadow. The time had come to pass on the lesson that had saved her life. She crouched low, her body a sculpture of stillness. The cubs watched, their instincts crackling like electricity.
They're watching the master. Those cubs will know how to wait for a hare because their mother never forgot.
One cub lunged at a grasshopper, a messy pounce that sent the insect springing away. The intent, though, was perfect. The cubs tumbled through the grass, all spotted fur and oversized paws, practicing the ancient choreography of predator and prey.
They don't know it yet, but come next winter, those instincts will keep their blood warm at 40 below.
Scylla nudged the boulder cub forward with her nose, guiding each paw placement, a silent tutorial in silence. In the golden light, the meadow became a classroom, and every failure was a step toward survival. The science was never just about fur. It was about the chain of life, forged in the cold, passed on in the sun. As the sun sank, the family rested on the rocks, and the design of winter was written into the future. Elena packed the last of her equipment into a rugged plastic crate. The season's work was finished.
1 year of data. Every spike and drop a heartbeat recorded in the frozen dark.
She picked up the printed photograph of Scylla and her cubs, the ink still sharp.
You outlasted the -45. You built a tiny dynasty on stone.
By lantern light, she opened her field journal to the final page.
The secret was never just the coat. It was the quiet flame of life itself.
She wrote a single line, closed the cover, and sat with the silence of the cabin. Outside the window, the sunset spilled across the boreal forest, painting the treetops in gold. The science of winter is not written in dusty textbooks. It is written in fur and blood and the patience of a creature that refuses to die. The blizzard returns in memory, a white fury that could not claim her. She became the cold's master, not its victim. Then spring melted the snow and revealed the greatest prize of all, two tiny cubs. Born in the stone den that saved her life, they now explore the green world, all spotted fur and oversized paws. They stumble through the grass, practicing the ancient stalk their mother perfected in the snow. On the high rocks, the family rests, a dynasty carved from ice and patience. The mother watches, her long wait, now a gift to the next generation. The sun descends, and the bobcats are silhouettes against the golden sky, a line unbroken. In the silence of the snow, a bobcat never really walks alone. She carries the design of survival in every breath. The stillness of her eye holds the secret that science could only begin to explain. The eye of the bobcat now fills the screen, immense and ancient, a portal into the wild. Within the amber, a tiny forest is mirrored in perfect miniature. Trees, clouds, a sliver of sunlight. It is the world she has mastered, a world held in a single, unblinking gaze. The pupil is a dark sun, the iris a golden map of every winter she has survived. This eye watched the blizzard howl, the hare appear, the cubs take their first steps. It is the same eye that closed in the den, shutting out the -45, keeping the warm dark close. Now it reflects the forest, and the forest reflects a patience beyond human measure. For a long breath, the image holds, and the boundary between animal and landscape dissolves into one. The science is beautiful, the animal even more so. And then the eye closes, and the screen goes black.